Oh, yes. First of all, let me commiserate to the widows and children of the fallen soldiers. We're talking about Lieutenant Colonel, two majors, a captain, and 12 other rank and file. It's a tragedy. The community, of course, this crisis did not just start today. It's been a crisis, a communal crisis that has been in the offing. I was gladdened to hear the Delta State governor said that now they are on top of the situation. But I would say that the government wasn't proactive because if they were proactive, they could have nipped this in the bud. There might have not been any need for the soldiers to have gone on that peace mission. Why do I say this? On the 27th of January, if you remember very well, the Okwama community complained that 3 of their children were killed. That was widely published. Igor Mishak, Power Awusa, and Okemute David. And they also alleged that the driver of the speedboat was also killed by the Okoloba community. And for it not to escalate, the government rightly called for a peace meeting between the Okwama and the Okoloba community. And they eventually signed the peace accord on the 7th of February. But that peace accord, of course, you know, people have died. The Okwama people were not satisfied, apparently, and the Okoloba people were also apprehensive that there was going to be revenge. And when this kind of situation happens, you must have a lot of intelligence, because what eventually happened was that while the Okoloba people kept, sending out signals that they were afraid because mercenaries were in the main river, and they were doing stop and search. The Okwama people also said the Okoloba people were the ones that were doing the stop and search, because these are riverine communities, Yori. You know, these are not communities that you can just access on land. But eventually culminated in the death of an Okoloba man who was on his farm on the 5th of March. He was abducted. He was said to have been abducted and has been taken to Okwama. That was what was alleged. And eventually this body was recovered on the 9th of March. Pira Zipomene, that is what he's called. And of course, immediately that tension, his body had been recovered, all hell was let loose. That was the point that at least the governor's special advisor on security and the governor's special advisor on conflict resolution should have been able to brief the governor that the tensions had escalated after they had, signed the peace agreement. And maybe policemen would have been stationed. Maybe we don't have, I don't know what the Marine Police is like now in Delta State, but policemen would have been stationed from the Oturujemi police station to keep peace for at least a period of 1 or 2 months till tensions, and they're able to call back the leaders of these communities. Because I remember very well there was this Vincent Odwara who wrote on behalf of the Ewu community of Okwama, and there's this Clement Kogi who was representing the Okoloba community. So if all these were done, and that is why I talked about it being proactive, it might not have culminated into the soldiers having to now visit the Okwama community, because the soldiers visiting the Okwama community might have been perceived to have been taking sides with the Okoloba people, because don't forget that the Okwama people said 3 people died on their own side. The Okoloba people said 1 person died. And this community strife, you can never tell. The only way you can actually tell is when you can use intelligence. And that intelligence is very key, because if you don't have that intelligence, you're not able to act. And so it was something that the state government was already aware of. And so by the time the soldiers arrived, I believe very well it must have been mercenaries, like the Okoloba people have rightly said. You remember they also seized the boat. I don't know, maybe you did not follow that story, Uncle Yori. A boat was seized by the Okoloba community, alleged to have been used by the mercenaries. 2 rifles, a pump action gun, or was it a ding gun or whatever, but arms and ammunition were sent to the Bomadi police station. And so all these were things that had happened before it culminated into the full-blown crisis that saw the army now coming, and unfortunately 17 lives have been lost to such a communal dispute. It's very sad.
Indeed.